Howdy, Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. Back again, live. No, wait, this is recorded. Um, we're in the Qigong side of the equation. We'll talk about that in a moment. I always start with the shirt. This is about as Halloween of a shirt as I own. So if you don't understand the reference, guess what? Google it. Oddly, though, we've been doing this since March of 2020. This is only the third time I've worn this shirt. First time was in 2020 in October. It was a Water Tiger for Sachem Facebook Live video and one of the lottery episodes. So it was one of our 11 lottery slips that we pull to play a Tai Chi a certain way. And this was short, which means a low stance. And the other time was just last year. And that was the Dantian toolbox. Anyway, for our Qigong focus in this video, we're going to do something that we haven't done before. So now for something completely different, a full set of Qigong. So we've never done the playing entirely from beginning to end. It's always been bits and pieces, but because of circumstances, we've decided to put some full-length forms out there. But we will continue doing what we have been doing for the last 5 years, which is give you some background on what it is we're doing. So there's a lot to get through. Below, we'll post where in the video I start the set. Please, at least one time, first time watching the video, first time participating, stay for the introduction. Don't skip directly to the set. Highly recommended. If for no other reason, this is an external, a Waidan set. So if you get things wrong, it's not going to be really good. What we are doing is the Primary Fragrance Qigong or Gong Set. According to the China Gong Association, Lian Hao Xiang, a Buddhist monk, created this art, this approach to Qigong, over 2,000 years ago. Traditionally, students had to practice the sets for at least 50 years before they could teach anyone else. And since 1988, again, according to the association, the sets have spread to at least 45 countries. And 20 years ago, the China Gong Association estimated that at least 35 million plus people in China played this particular art. When it comes to the health benefits of fragrance Qigong, the list is kind of long, and as always, mileage may vary from individual to individual, but let me just read the list. Stroke, speech impediment. If you watch my videos, maybe I need to do these sets more often. Hearing impediment, poor eyesight. I have a story about that. High blood pressure, various heart ailments, diabetes, insomnia, stomach disorder, knee ailments. That's going to be good for me today. I haven't done the set for a while. Breast cancer and skin disorders. And there are other things. For instance, I'll mention the poor eyesight thing. One of the people from whom I learned these sets from indicated that when he first started, he wore glasses. And when we get to the set, if you wear glasses, take them off, please. But anyway, he noticed that his vision was getting blurry, so he went to see his eye doctor. And what was going on was his eyesight was getting better. So anecdotal evidence. I also had a student in a public class where we were doing the set indicate that when she was much, much younger, she had an infection that killed her sense of smell. She hadn't had her sense of smell for years and years. And after we introduced the set in class and played it for a while, she got her sense of smell back. So those are two pretty powerful, mileage may vary, stories. When it comes to fragrance Qigong, Gong, there are 5 truths of the Gong. The first is faith is the foundation. The second is practice is the condition. The third is virtue is the essence. The fourth is realization is the key link. And the fifth, passing on, is the greatest duty. So here we are. Movements are designed to be in communication with the energies of the universe. Communal practice is recommended, so maybe hit pause and invite some people to join you when you play the set. And as the name implies, Fragrance Qigong, generation of Qi, can actually create aromas. And I will say, I played Fragrance Qigong in Prosser Pines here on Long Island. It's a pine forest. I have never smelled pine as clearly as I did during the set. Now, that's not exactly what that note is about, but I thought that that was an interesting aside. If at any point in the set you have to hit pause for a moment, maybe your doorbell rings or something, don't just walk away. Note where you are in the set so you can come back in the same place and do their closing, this set's closing movement, which is referred to as withdraw your kung fu. And withdraw your kung fu looks a little bit like our closing, except we don't do anything in the lower body. It's just an upper body movement. And it does have the movement out and the movement in, but the movement out begins, and you have what in Fragrance Qigong is referred to as lightly closed fists, which is bringing the thumb tip to the fingertip. So it sort of looks like crane's beak, but it's in like this. So the hands form those lightly closed fists. They move out away from the body, come in, and as they move down, they open up. And that's the movement for withdraw your kung fu. As soon as that's done, you can step away, come back, join the set again. So at any point and at the end of the set, just, lightly closed fists, open, and down. Do with your withdraw the kung fu. I have more reading for you. Again, more stuff that I wrote down. According to the China Qigong Association, the goals of practicing Qigong are as follows. 1, to cultivate your moral character, broaden your horizons, nourish your patience, and improve your life. 2, to cultivate your potential, develop your perception, and bring benefit to your fellow creatures. 3, to cure various diseases and relieve distress. So those are the goals. The China Qigong Association also has a list of do nots. Now, I'll probably point out a couple in particular, but not everyone who teaches Fragrance Qigong to others adhere very strictly to these. But I want to go through them anyway. I feel like it's necessary. 1, terminal patients, those with serious heart or medical disorders, highly infectious disease, acute appendicitis, those suffering from rabies or a poisonous bite, venomous really should be the word, should not practice Qigong. You should not practice Qigong within 20 minutes before or following a meal or consuming alcohol, or when you are angry or extremely tired. You should not practice during thunderstorms or any time when there is thunder or lightning. This is one that a lot of people are loose on that particular direction. It is not recommended to practice near street, river, or in a draft. Same caveat. Do not practice outside between sunset and dawn. If ill, be sure that you do not think of your illness during practice. The forms in this set can be practiced standing or seated. That's one of 2 reasons I have the chair here. You may want to grab a chair before we start. Another one that a lot of people don't do is it is recommended to practice the form twice a day. I've only ever done it once a day. Finishing my mint, by the way. There are 3 sets of Qigong, primary, intermediate, and advanced. In general, only the first 2 are taught in public. So there, my reading is over. Thank goodness you're all saying. 2 more additional caveats, though. 1, it may seem like we're doing nothing or not much, but we are. You have to have faith in what it is you're doing. Will indeed cultivate energy. I can tell you, I feel it when I do this set. And if I deviate from the specific movements, I feel a change of what's going on. hence adhere to the movements. In other words, my second caveat, be sure to maintain the instructor structure, movement, etc. As an external set, as I mentioned, why done? External elixir, deviations will not help, and they might even cause harm. So there you go. There are supposed to be between 36 and 54 movements of each of the 15 exercises, sorry. I'm not able to lead this set and count repetitions at the same time. So what we do in presenting this what we do in presenting this set is we use a clock. We set a rhythm, a pace, a tempo that gets us within that range that usually places us closer to the 54. So that's what I'm going to be doing. We're going to be doing minute intervals on the 15 exercises plus what they refer to as a warm-up and the withdraw of the Kung Fu that I showed you earlier. So I want the elbows tucked in. Most of these movements are very elbow-centric. So that means elbows aren't out and you're not swinging the upper arms. It's sort of like an old-fashioned saloon door. And my forearms are parallel to the ground. They're not tilted down. They're not tilted up in this exercise. That will change. And standing or seated. And by the way, you don't have to stand still in this set. I can walk around. You could do this set pretty much walking down the street, but the people in the white coats might come and get you. So this is warm-up, or sometimes what I refer to as a silent clap, and we're going to begin in about 3, 2, 1. And it's just open and close. I call it a silent clap not because I'm touching or I'm flexing my wrists so my hands would be more able to come into contact, but I'm just opening and closing. I'm opening to my range of motion, right? You may have more. You may be able to go back into the plane of your body. You may have less range of motion because of shoulder impingements or something going on with biceps or triceps, and you might only be able to go there, but this is my range of motion. So that's how much I am opening and closing. We will return to this movement for 5 repetitions when we get to the third exercise. But this is warm-up, and we're about 45 seconds in. Next is Golden Dragon swings its tail. Again, the elbows stay pretty much around the front. They do slide a little bit. So I bring the palms of the hands together. So I have lightly formed prayer hands here. And I'm swinging down and through, creating sort of an arc. Right? I'm not chopping. I want sort of like drawing the smile on a smiley face. This is Golden Dragon swings its tail. So notice the elbows are sliding across the front of my torso. I'm not out there. 30 seconds in. I like to say the first 2 exercises deal with, maybe mythological creatures, maybe not. Because the second exercise is Jade Phoenix nods its head, or nodding head. It's going to happen in about 10 seconds. And the first was Golden Dragon swings its tail. Jade Phoenix nodding its head is your opportunity to do the chopping motion. I still have the prayer hands, heels of the palms together, the pads of the 10 of the 2 together, and it's just up and down. I get my elbows right against my torso. Breathe when you have to. Don't concern yourself with your breath. Just breathe. This is the second exercise in the Primary Fragrance Qigong Set, Xiang. Of course, I'm probably mispronouncing the Chinese. If you've watched anything in this series, you know that's usually the case. Up and down. Then we go into a couple of Buddha. I like to joke the first one is Buddha is an architect. Buddha tower rocks the center. That's the one that we'll start with 5 repetitions of the warm-up, or what I call the silent clap. And that's going to start in 3, 2, 1. Just 1, 2, 3. Now I do have my elbows free. And notice I'm going to freeze for a moment. I'm sort of forming a peak of a roof. And I'm swinging the hands back. Arms are at full length as they swing down and then snap back up. And I have that sort of roof peak at about 45-degree angle. And it's not right at my front plane. I'm not, there's some distance between my hands and my face, I guess I should. This is what I'm trying to say. So we have Buddha as an architect, or Buddha tower rocks the center with those 5 repetitions of jade phoenix nodding its head. And by the way, if you're counting repetitions, if you're doing like the 54, those 5 count toward your 54. Next is Buddha fondles the piano, sort of like the warm-up. Elbows are going to be in, but now my palms are down. Now we don't want to concern ourselves with thinking about how the chi is being generated here, but I do want to point out that this open and closed movement is repeated. But one, the warm-up is with the palms facing one another, this with the palms down. And my fingers are lightly pressed together. I don't have delicate lady hands. Breathing, relaxing, and releasing. I didn't say anything out front, but when you finish this set, there needs to be a Qigong massage. Now I'm going to do a pretty detailed Qigong massage. You can do one that's shorter. Again, this is the 3rd exercise, the 4th exercise. Buddha fondles the piano. Buddha is a musician. I guess he has a rounded keyboard. Now all I'm going to do is turn the palms up and continue the same open and closed movement. This is Boyu parts one another. It's said that Boyu is a twin mountain peak in China, but literature also indicates Boyu was Confucius' son, so I don't know which it is. I like to go with the mountain image because that leads us into the 6th exercise. We're at the 5th. Because if you're a mountain, if we're talking about the mountains, then we have a couple of nature exercises. We have the mountains, and then we have wind sweeps the lotus leaf. In that, the movement of the arms is going to kind of be like Jade Phoenix, like Golden Dragon. It's English. But pretend you have no wrists, so the wrists are going to be non-existent. But your hands are active. So they're swinging sort of in the same Jade Phoenix pattern, sort of making the smile in that smiley face. But the hands are not together. They're about the same distance apart, forearms, as where my elbows are in my torso. And my hands, I like to think of the leaves. So when I swing to the left, the hands swing back and to the left. When I swing to the right, they're swinging to the right. Then we enter what we refer to at Water Tiger School as our rounded sequence in about 15 seconds. Starting with turn heaven and earth to the left. That will be counterclockwise. 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to hold my hands together. Right palm leads across the top, left palm across the bottom. There's a traditional way of doing this. Again, my elbows are sort of glued to my lats, little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. And my hands are staying at the same orientation as my forearms. So that's one choice. A non-traditional choice is sort of holding a box. So my wrists flex during this. My fingertips stay straight forward. Make a choice and stay with that choice throughout. I'm going to do the traditional version for the rest of the minute, but I just wanted to show you the box idea. I like doing the hold the box and rotate that way. This is the 7th exercise, turn heaven and earth to the left. I think the full title is actually turn the heaven and the earth to the left. And the next is to the right. So all we do is reverse. Left palm leads across the top, right palm across the bottom. And again, like the first exercise, if you did the first exercise holding the box, then you want to do the second exercise holding the box. You don't have to do that every time you play the set. This is the second of 4 rounded movements. This is turn heaven and earth to the right, or turn the heaven and the earth to the right. Next one will bring those lightly closed fists into the play. Hands or digits rounded, palms rounded, thumb tip to fingertips. That happens in about 15 seconds. And the pattern is out away from the chest and in toward the abdomen to solar plexus to the diaphragm. Row the oars to cross the sea, forming the lightly closed fists. I want to keep my fingertips and my thumb tip forward, so my palms are always facing forward. I'm not digging the palms down. Out away from the chest, into the belly. And again, just to show you. I had a student years ago that was cross-enrolled in the keto program where we were renting studio space in our program. And she racked her ankle. I'm pretty sure it was in the keto class. And this was the set that she did, setting on a stool. She said she recommends setting on a stool. And she said at one point in the healing process, she sort of felt a pop, an internal pop. It wasn't, like a joint pop. And the ankle felt a lot better. From row the oars to cross the sea, both palms down, right hand on top, left hand on bottom. Its magic wheel turns forever. I'm seeking to keep my hands the same distance apart, up and down, forward and back. So I may have to round my spine a little bit to do that. My Lao Gong points ideally stay on the center line. Of course, magic wheel can't turn forever, because if it did, then we'd be stuck here with one another. And a lot of people doing this hamster wheel movement tend to speed up. I'm doing my darndest to keep this at the same pace as everything else. This is the last of the rounded sequence in 5 seconds. We do Damo swings the boat. Right hand on top, left hand on bottom. And this is another proprioception and kinesthesia thing. I am doing my best to maintain the same distance between my 2 hands, swinging to and fro, because the tendency is they get closer on the left and farther away on the right. And again, I'm also doing my best to keep the Lao Gong points in alignment. We're at number 10 of 15. We'll have some options for the next exercise as well. The 12th, Wind of Buddha through the years. Traditionally, open palms around the dantian and then past the ears. I want the Lao Gong points to actually go past the ears, Wind of Buddha through the ears. It's not Wind of Buddha to the ears. It's not Wind of Buddha to the nose or the temples. But I really want that swing up past the ears. This is traditional. Non-traditional is go to the Buddha Tower rocks the center, swing down. I like the traditional here. We've played with both, monitored feelings, how it feels internally, how the qi flow feels. And these little adjustments that are non-traditional do not cause harm. But if you like just doing stuff here, that's something else. Or even just turning the palms back, that would be doing something else. Now let the light of Buddha shine. I'm going to put the thumb tip to the fingertip to the index finger. The other fingers, I'm going to take a little break here so you can see, like that. And I'm going to bring it up and down, so the same movement. Kind of off of my mark for a minute, but I noticed when I stepped back where things were. This is why you want to have your glasses or your contacts out for this set. You want to feel that little breeze. This is another one where you have traditional down in front of the dantian. You have semi-traditional, which is letting go of these sort of imaginary binoculars when you're down there. You have maintaining the hand position and doing the full swing. Or you have letting go of the binoculars and picking them up with the full swing. But I recommend the traditional. And we're at 13. The last is a 3 to 5 minute pause, stationary, but you can still walk around. So swinging palms, crossing the leg. My left hand is going to swing closer to my torso. My left hand has the Fitbit on it. Palms back. I always think of very old railroad crossings. You used to have these arms that would cross back and forth on the side of the road as a warning of the train tracks. And again, I don't have delicate lady hands. I don't have spear hands. I have a relaxed but activated hand position. This is the 14th. The 15th is Virgin Child Worships the Buddha. It's just the name. You don't have to be a virgin. You don't have to be worshiping Buddha. It just gives you a clue as to what the hand should be doing. I'm going to have my lightly closed prayer hands out at a 45. My elbows are open. And you see sort of a roundness there. Look on the floor underneath of me and the shadow. See the roundness. I don't want to, I can make this a meditation, but don't make it a Qigong-based meditation. That would interfere with the balancing of the qi that is taking place simply because of our physical position. But again, if you're getting tired, you can take this into a seated position. If you want to move around, that's okay too. We'll do 3 minutes. Just breathe. Relax and release. We're about a minute in. By the way, that felt really good today. I needed that. Not done yet. Just 1 more minute. I like doing a full 5, but I don't want to put you guys through that. If you want to do 5, hit pause. Really just letting the hands and the arms press against one another. And if the distance is right, the arms hold up themselves. It's almost like that trust exercise that they do in acting classes and corporate bonding exercises, where you lean into somebody, hold each other up. Or that happy monkey that has the symbols. Now I'm going to release the hands. They're going to float down. Again, all you have to do in Fragrant Qigong is form the empty fists, up, out, away from the body. In, I don't have to keep them straight forward here as we do in Row the Oars Across the Sea. Open them up. Now officially, according to Fragrant Qigong, we're done. But, because we're with Water Tiger, I'm going to settle the weight through that right leg as the hands float up. I'm going to bring that left foot in. I'm going to press that left heel down. Wish I could get a knee pop. And we'll rebound in a moment. And there's the set. So again, some form of Qigong meditation. This one's going to be probably longer than the set itself. And clap the hands once. Rub them together until they feel energized. I didn't say hot. I said energized. At any point in the Qigong massage, if you feel like your hands have lost their energy, go back to the clap, rub them, and then join us again with the meditation. I want small circles. And I want to start kind of around behind the temples, kind of around the hairline. And I'm going to do little circles. And you want to keep this going in one direction. This is not a physical massage. So it's not the kind of massage where we have to start somewhere else on the body and move in a certain direction for blood flow. In other words, it's not, a physical massage. It's a Qigong massage. So I'm seeking to balance the Qi cultivation through the body. So once I start in a direction, if I go by somewhere, I don't want to backtrack to get it. So if I feel something that wants some attention, maybe the Bakwai point, the crown point of the head, maybe the jade pillow underneath the occipital protuberance. I always love saying that, which is a little bump that we all have on the backs of our heads. The jade pillow is right underneath that. And once I get there, the jade pillow is, I usually use the word thirsty. If it's thirsty, if I want some attention, I'll spend some time there. And I'm going to return to the front. I'm going to start the Shangdantian acupuncture point, just above the brow, and little circles out over the brow, to the left and the right and back, toward the temples. Now, some people might suggest a certain circular motion, like both moving forward across the bottom and back across the top, or vice versa, or just pressure. Don't rub them in a circular pattern. I kind of say do what feels good for you. Breathing, relaxing, and releasing. The Qigong massage, second reason for the chair, but that's really when we get to the lower body. I mean, if you wanted to sit when you're doing this, okay, you'd probably need a stool as opposed to a chair. However, and after I'm done with the temples, I'm going to come to the bridge of the nose, right between the eyes, give it a little squeeze, and carefully go down the nose. Because part of the nose structure is bone, but the rest of it is cartilage. You don't want to end up breaking your nose. Should have warned everybody to wash their hands before we started. I apologize. At least I'm getting it in now. And at the base of the nose, the nasolabial folds there, I'm going to start moving out over the top of the gum line and the jawline, kind of up toward the hinge of the jaw. Some of us hold a lot of tension in the hinge of the jaw. So when you get there, I'm going to spend a little extra time breathing into that space and working that space. And then from the hinge of the jaw down, I'm using both underneath the jawbone and on the base of the gum line, moving forward until I get the point of my chinny chin chin. And not everybody likes this, but I like a little mouth wipe, not with the palm of my hand. I'm just kind of stretching the lips. I like doing 3. Not officially part of the Qigong massage regimen, but I also like to do a route around the ear. So again, we're dealing with cartilage. I start at the top, where they're attached to the side of the head. And work around to the earlobes. Careful if you have earrings. He says as a reminder to himself. As I get to the lobes, then I start on front, back, and sides of the neck. Again, be careful in front. The back, you can be, a little bit more aggressive in your little circles. In the front, you want to be careful. You don't want to close off an artery or mess with the cartilage of the airway, etc. And I get to the suprasternal notch. I'm going to choose an arm. You could do both of them at the same time. I'm going to start at the base of the neck. I'm going to go down. Again, little circles. So it's always sort of a circular movement. You can use the palm of your hand, but I feel you get more connection and more action out of the pads, the 5 of the 1. So I could be doing this at the same time with the other arm. And again, moving in one direction. I wanted to take my time a bit here. So I make sure I get all 4 sides of the arm. Breathing, relaxing, and releasing. And you can do all 5 digits at the same time, or if you want to take the time, you can start with the pinky and work your way to the thumb, or start with the thumb and work your way to the pinky. You can do all 5 at the same time. If I were doing both arms at the same time, I'd choose a hand, do that hand first, and then do the other one. And I'm not done with this arm when I finish the 5 of the 1. Qi sandpaper. We do another Qigong exercise where we kind of feel it's like a squeegee. This is Qi sandpaper to smooth out any rough edges that are left. I'm going to do 3 passes and do the best I can in the 3 passes with my Qi sandpaper to make sure that I get all 4 sides of the arm. And I'm going to start the same process on the other side. Breathing, relaxing, and releasing. I just don't feel it. Sorry, that was sort of a self. Should have said that without moving my mouth. And again, working as best I can on all 4 sides. There's a story behind my compression pad. Sleeve, I guess I should say. if you must know. I blew out my right biceps tendon on the first. Again, keeping it circular, or at least pseudo-circular, and always moving in one direction. Listening, which is the word we use to, feel. If anything is, the word I use is thirsty for additional attention. Usually there's spots in my arms that want additional attention, and they didn't today. So there's my right arm down to my fingertips. And now I have my Qi sandpaper. Going down once, going down twice, going down thrice. And there's no flick like there is in the other exercise. That would be stirring the ignored, by the way, in our Awakening the Qi set. I'm starting right at the suprasternal notch. I'm doing little duo circles down my center line. Now, if you're in a public space and you don't want to do this part, you can skip from the top of the chest to sort of the diaphragm area, just below the sternum, the solar plexus, I guess I should say, the Zhang Dantian acupuncture point. The base of the rib cage. There we go. That one works. So you don't have to work all the way down the center of the chest. That's forgivable. And now I'm working out across the base of the rib cage. When I get to the tops of the hips, those are also usually thirsty points for me. I want to say the gallbladder and spleen meridian on both sides of those points. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what that says. That those points at the top of my hips are always thirsty when I do this massage. Now I'm going to work from there across, down a little bit. So I'm on the lower spine. For us at Water Tiger School, that's the Ming Men point. It's equivalent to where the Xia Dantian acupuncture point is in front. Now this is a good point where you really want to make sure that your hands are still energized. Just check in on them. If they feel like they need more energy, then do, because we want to spend a little bit of time on the Shen Yu. And actually, flesh to flesh is best. So I've lifted my shirt up a little bit. I'm going to spend a little bit of time there. And this is where, if you want to sit when we do the legs, but you have to wait a moment, because we have to do the cheeks. But McElroy Laoshi, we already did the face. Yeah, no, not those cheeks. There we are in the glutes. And it's after you clear the glutes that if you want to sit down to do both legs, you can. But we do one leg at a time. When as little weight on it as possible, maybe you just use the chair to prop up your leg. But you could also use the chair to sit and do the leg. So I can sit down now and do my circular movements, moving down that leg. Or I can stand, and what I do here myself is I lean into the other leg. So this one is, for all intents and purposes, empty. It doesn't really have any weight. I mean, I would probably fall over. I mean, if you've got great balance and can stand here and work that leg for the time it takes to get from the top to the toes, freak. Breathing. again, the idea is kind of a combination of stirring and balancing the qi through the body. Make sure you get the Achilles. Now, usually when I get to the foot, I switch to one hand, the heel, and then maybe both hands. The bottom of the foot, all the way to this little piggy. Went to market, this little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef, this little piggy had none. And this little piggy went wee, wee, all the way home. Same thing we did with the arms, we do with the legs. Qi sandpaper. Getting as much of 4 sides of that leg and all sides of the foot as possible in 3 passes. And then switching to the other leg. And moving down. And again, there are much shorter versions. You could simply do the Qi sandpaper 3 passes over each of the areas that I have mapped out for you. So it'd be 3 passes over the top of the head, sort of combing the hair. 3 passes from the Xiang Tian acupuncture point to the temples. 3 passes down the nose. 3 passes up the upper jaw line. 3 passes down the lower jaw line. 3 passes down one arm. 3 passes down the neck. Maybe skipping the ears in that instance. Or doing 3 quick passes down the ears. And 3 down the neck, 3 down either both arms at one time, or a single arm at a time. Maybe when we do the intermediate set, I'll do that version of the Qigong massage for you. Again, the 5 piggies. And then Qi sandpaper. And 1, 2, 3. Man, that feels good. So, there you are. The Primary Fragrance Qigong Set with a full, rather involved, Qigong massage. Our first attempt, or venture, I guess not really attempt, because here we are at the end and we haven't had to stop and restart. So our first venture into a full set on our YouTube channel. By the way, that particular Qigong massage is based on, years ago there was a column in Kung Fu magazine, Inside Kung Fu, called Training for Life from Doc Fei Young. And that massage pattern is based, doesn't follow it exactly, but is based on his column, Massage Your Troubles Away. So I hope you enjoyed this change, sort of bits and pieces and sort of compare and contrast, a full set for you. And we will probably continue that in our Qigong series. I'm not sure what our next Tai Chi topic will be. We're hoping that we'll keep our 3-week rotation, but as I mentioned, I have an issue. Not sure how we're going to address that yet. Still have some other things going on. So we might have to go dark. If we do, we'll put an announcement video in our announcement playlist for you. So thank you very much for your time and attention. As always, yes, we do ask YouTube for the ability to screen all comments before they are posted. They don't always let us do that. But the reason isn't to like edit out constructive negative criticism, but to keep the spam away. Because if we don't do that, then we tend to end up with suggestions as to where you can get your next date. And then, you know, it's a little bit more free range on Facebook. We will post a link to this video on our Facebook page, Water Tiger Tai Chi. But same thing, if you flame us there, and if you flame us here, that's not going to go through. But constructive criticism is always welcome. So thanks for your time and your attention. Again, I hope you enjoyed this, and you'll catch us, I guess, the next time when we do this.